Hey, it's Mark Lanier with your video thought for the day. All right, I'm coming to you from the Bozeman, Montana airport. Yeah, Bozeman, Montana. That's there's snow out there. You can't really see it there, but it's like been snowing where I was today, which is crazy, having just gotten back from spring break. But anyway, be that as it may. This week, my wife suggested that I look at passages of the Bible where my understanding of them has changed and grown over time. So I started that yesterday. And I wanted to look at one today that's really been interesting to kind of chart the way I've worked through it. This comes from the Sermon on the Mount by Jesus. And if you remember what he said in Matthew 5, verse 48, it was a passage that has been troubling to me before. Let me tell it to you. The passage says in the English Standard Version, "You must be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect." Now, when I first read that growing up as a boy, I didn't have much Greek. In fact, I didn't have any Greek behind me. So I was reading that thinking that Jesus was teaching people that people had to measure up to God's level of perfection. And frankly, I didn't do that. I knew I wasn't up to God's level of perfection. I hadn't read Martin Luther yet, but Martin Luther would comment on verses like Isaiah 64:6 that says, our best deeds are like a polluted garment before God. And Luther would say, tell me someone who does any deed that's not tainted with at least a little bit of selfishness. And once we've got a little bit of selfishness in the deeds, we're not perfect the way God is. So I struggled. What does this mean? Be perfect as God is perfect, as your Father in heaven is perfect. You must be. Well, as I got older, I thought, well, maybe this is Jesus teaching us that we can't be righteous on our own. It's like he wants to drive us to a position of saying, God, have mercy on me. I can't measure up. And he was setting a standard that we can't achieve so that we would seek God in mercy and not be proud and arrogant and haughty. And I thought that for a while, and there may be some element of that still, but it wasn't until I really started looking carefully at this in its original Greek text that I came to an understanding that I have today. The word perfect is teleos in the Greek. And it's translated perfect here, but many places in the Bible it's translated as mature. It doesn't always just denote this idea of a moral perfection. It's talking about the idea of something that's reached its time, its ripeness, that's grown up, that's mature. Paul uses the same word in Colossians 1, where he says he wants everybody to be mature, or he calls us to maturity. This idea of being perfect, being mature. It is a concept that is a biblical concept. So then I began to understand that Jesus is not telling us we have to achieve moral purity like God. Jesus is urging us to be grown up. God's the ultimate grown up. And when he says you must be, esisthe in the Greek, it's a future imperative. It means this is not this is required of you, but this is what you need to aspire to. This is what you need to do. This is where you need to get. This is what you need to be. And so what Jesus is really saying is don't be satisfied where you are in your life today, but strive for a maturity, a perfection, a ripeness like God has. We want to grow to be more like him. And once I understood that, it freed me up quite a bit to understand, A, God is not saying I must be morally perfect to be with him, but B, he's urging me to grow up, to be better tomorrow than I am today, and to be better today than I was yesterday. And that, my friend, is your video thought for the day.